Alright, sup everyone, this is Ethan, back with the vid, the COVID. Yep, that's right, I got COVID. Okay, so I just wanted to pop on today to tell you all a little bit about my COVID experience because it's really been this massive thing that's occupied so much of everyone's headspace over the past year and a half, even 2 years. And to just finally have first-hand experience with this has been quite eye-opening and even quite surprising in some ways to me. So my COVID experience started not too long ago, just a couple of days ago, and I just taught the Mysore class, so a lot of human interaction, a lot of hands-on physical adjustments, face-to-face verbal instruction, and just a lot of human contact in general. Shortly after that, I started to experience some scratchiness in the back of my throat, a bit like if you've been talking too much or if you've been in a loud space and just had to project more than you usually feel comfortable to. The voice just gets a little bit tired. And over the course of the morning, I started to feel increasingly uncomfortable at the idea of having to go back in the next morning and teach the same kind of class. So just being hypersensitive to the situation, I decided to go in for a COVID test. And the voice kind of just relaxed over the course of the day, but sure enough, later on that day, I got the SMS to say your PCR test results are in and you have COVID. So I quickly rushed to move all the classes to online. I told all the students, of course, that I have COVID, and many of them took the opportunity to get tested the next day, and fortunately we just had negatives across the board. Not a single student had COVID, and even my girlfriend Shamel did not have COVID, which is surprising because her response to hearing that I had COVID was to rush over and throw her arms around me and just get as close to my physical body as she possibly could, which is not what I would recommend, but she did present with a negative COVID test the next day as well. So over the next few days, I started to experience an increase in symptoms, and for me that was mainly just feeling pain in my physical body. So all my muscles felt inflamed, was tired, just feeling sore, my skin hurt, I was sensitive to cold, and just over those few days, I would say that was like the peak of the COVID experience for me. Shortly after, like towards the tail end of those couple of days, I started to feel a lack of taste and smell. First taste and then smell. So for example, if I was to have a sip of like a strong tasting herbal tea, I would like hold it up to my face and smell it and anticipate that, okay, I'm going to get hit by this taste, and then I would take the sip and move the cup away, and then I would be holding the liquid in my mouth and just nothing would be there. I would have no experience of it whatsoever. So taste was completely gone. Shortly after that, I lost my sense of smell as well, and I could see that happening because I had this little cinnamon packet next to my bed that I would stick my snout into and just make sure that I still have my sense of smell. And one morning I tried it and it was just gone. There was nothing. It was smelling an empty packet basically. Fortunately, I didn't have any of the respiratory symptoms of COVID. I didn't have a cough at all. I didn't have shortness of breath or difficulty breathing at all at any time. Another thing that I did have was a loss of appetite. So with no taste, no smell, and no appetite, all of these things that usually come along with the sensory experience of eating just disappeared completely. And it was quite interesting to see that, because there's so much that comes with the experience of food. We eat for so many different reasons, emotionally, to comfort ourselves, to celebrate stuff, to socialize, to feel connected with the people that we make food for and who make food for us, just to enjoy the flavor of the food. There's all of that comes with the experience of eating, and now it was just reduced to that has a certain type of nutrition in it and I want to put that in this body. And you still kind of also got a sense of that, like the value of certain types of food, like a big sattvic ripe strawberry just seems so nice and nourishing, and you just want the energy of that. Like your body craves for it even though you can't taste it. And then if you follow that up with like some sweets or a piece of chocolate or something, that just has no value whatsoever. Like after you've removed the taste from that food, your body just doesn't want it. There's no interest in eating that at all when you don't have the taste. So that was a very eye-opening experience. Yeah, I would recommend it. So I guess the next thing you might be wondering is, hey Eth, did you continue to practice throughout this whole time? And my answer to that is yes, I practiced throughout the coronavirus experience. I did not miss a single day of practice. And just before you throw the arms up and go, oh Eth, you're so dogmatic, so traditional, so predictable, you're a slave to the schedule. You couldn't even take a day off, even when you're really not feeling well with this life-threatening illness. And my response to that is that I did dial my practice back a lot, and I entered into this zone of what I would call organic practice. I'll tell you what it is because it's a very powerful practice that I often will, or sometimes will recommend to my students, particularly when they're going through very acutely difficult times, like maybe experiencing a bad injury, experiencing pain, even emotional pain, experiencing illness, these type of things. Organic practice is a very powerful tool. And what it is that you just start from the beginning of the primary series and experience every moment for what it is right now. So every single breath and its associated movement is just honored and experienced completely, and you're not trying to go anywhere in the practice in this particular case. This is a different technique than that one where you sometimes hear students going like, oh, I'll just do 5 A's and 3 B's, or I'll just go up to Janu Shirshasana, or I'll just do the primary series. This is not that at all. You're not trying to get to any particular point, you're just trying to experience every moment as it is. And I find that to create a lot of presence, to be very grounding, a very stabilizing way to move through your practice. You don't gloss over any particular part because you're just not trying to get anywhere. And with this technique, you have full permission at any time to just get up and go. If you realize that you're doing more harm than good, you're putting unnecessary stress on the body through this practice, you're so welcome to just mid-pose, mid-vinyasa, whatever it is, to just get up and leave. You don't have to do the last 3 finishing postures, nothing. Whereas in reality, I will always finish the pose that I'm doing. I'll always finish the second side of the pose that I'm doing. I'll always do the last 3 finishing postures, and I'll always lie down and take rest, and then I'll finish up my practice. But just having that strong line of support in knowing that you can just finish practice at any moment is a very powerful tool. The practice has this tendency to take you from where you are and just make you feel a bit better. It could be a little bit better, it could be an average amount or a lot better, but ultimately your practice almost invariably makes you feel better. And to approach your practice thinking before you even start that I'm in a really disadvantaged situation, this is going to be really hard, that's not going to be a useful approach to the practice. So much better would be to just step on your mat, experience it for what it is, and if you get to that point where you start to feel like this is not serving well, then of course that's that get up and go situation that you're always welcome to cash in on at any time. Another reason why I really like practicing during these difficult times is because it gives me more empathy. I want to experience the practice in all different ways. The Ashtanga practice is what I do. It's what I love. I dedicate my whole life to the practice of yoga, and Ashtanga in particular is what I do on a daily basis. So I want to experience it from all these different angles and all these different approaches. I experience my own practice. I experience other people's journey in the practice along with them, and I don't want to be that teacher that just stands over people going straight legs, be stronger, do better, work harder. I want to understand why it is that I'm telling the student to do something. I can see that they're putting the effort into doing it, and somehow it's just not quite happening. I don't just want to have experienced that from looking at people. I want to have all of the experiences that I possibly can. So whenever I'm faced with hardship, when I approach my own practice, I don't see that as this huge burden that I have to carry and now my practice is going to be more difficult than it usually is. I see it as an opportunity to continue to learn and grow, and so I feel like I had that during the whole COVID experience, and it was a very valuable one. So I had a deeply rewarding time practicing and just feeling my way into the physical body and the setting that I had throughout this whole experience. Okay, so I'll leave it at that for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to throw the thumbs up. Feel free to pop me a message to say get well soon and everything's gonna be okay, because I still got COVID, baby, and I'm feeling stronger and better every single day. And so I really appreciate you watching this video. Subscribe to the channel if you like it, if you want to see more videos, hopefully different kinds of videos, and then I'll see you in the next one.